true and only punctual on weekends. I'm your host, CHUNNING. Whether you are a fresh graduate looking for a job or a university student doing an internship, there's one thing we all deal with every day but rarely stop to think about, and that's being on time. Back in university, we might get used to delaying things a little, but once you step into the real workplace, respecting deadlines and time commitment becomes a big deal. It's how people judge whether you are professional and whether they can rely on you. Before we jump into today's discussion, let's take a quick look at the short video. It might feel a bit too familiar.
You've got a lot to do today. Feel proud and wipe your eyes, cause they stifle the yawn. You stayed up till dawn, let's see what you've been working on. It's gone. Keep in mind the deadline is closing. Your byline, the headline, they're in the bin. Uncompleted, all deleted. What's going on? You'll have to crunch and work till dawn till you die. Cut out the corners, cross the T's and dot the I's. Without the white, but keep it in good taste. Just so that no one will ever know it's defaced. Epithet erased.
Kinda familiar, right? Being on time isn't just about showing up or clocking in. It shows your sense of responsibility, your efficiency, and whether people can count on you. Today, we've invited 3 guests who've entered in very different kinds of companies. One in a Chinese internet company, one in a Korean multinational, and one in a large listed corporation. Through their real-life experiences, we'll dive into questions like how do people in the workplace really real deadlines, and how do cultural and company styles shape the way we see time. Let's welcome our guests and hear what they have to say.
Hi everyone, I'm Doctor from the Media and Communication program at UKM. During university, I did 3 internships all related to video editing and post-production. Most recently, I work as a short video editing assistant at a Chinese internet company. Editing seems like something that happened in the background, but typing really matters.
Hi everyone, I'm XIAOHAN, a 3-year media and communication student at UKM. Back in 2021, I started a small business with a friend. We opened an offline role-playing game shop where people could come in, take on characters from a script, and solve a mystery together. It was a really unique experience and taught me a lot about running a business. Later on, I also interned at a publicly listed e-commerce company where I worked on daily store operations, things like data analysis, managing of promotion schedules, and so on.
I'm MENGMENG, a 3rd-year media and communication student at UKM. I once interned at a Chinese brand of a well-known Korean beauty brand, where I worked on brand promotion and helped manage social media content across different countries. Since I had to coordinate with both the Korea headquarters and also the Chinese market, that experience really made me pay more attention to cross-cultural communication and how to work effectively between teams.
Thanks for the introductions. Sounds like all of you had a pretty different internship experiences. So next, I'd love to hear, did you notice how your companies handle things like being on time or meeting deadlines?
Yeah, something that really stuck with me during my video editing internship was how strict the company was about time. Like I mentioned before, most of the companies I worked at focus on content creation, but editing, especially in the internet industry, is super time sensitive. I mean, some videos had to go live exactly on holiday, and we couldn't be even a minute late delivering the materials. I still remember what my team leader said: if you are 1 minute late, we may have lost 100,000 views. I know it sounds crazy, but it really shows how much timing matters. So even though we didn't report to clients, we still had to keep up with everything. No delays allowed. Later, I realized it's not just editing. The entire media industry is extremely time-driving. Whether it's news, marketing, PR, or brand content, timing often matters more than the content itself. You can have the best ideas and skills, but if you miss the right moment, it's basically wasted. Compared to research-based work process-heavy industries, where things move a little slower, our field really feels like a race against the clock. I mean, that's why I've come to see the time awareness not as a bonus skills, but as something you need just to keep up.
Wow, I didn't realize editing could be so stressful. I always thought behind-the-scenes work had more flexible timing. That thing your leader said, being 1 minute late could cost you 100,000 views. Sounds intense, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense, especially in a fast-paced industry like media, where time is everything.
Well, what you said really made me think.
whether you are in front of the camera or behind it. If you are part of a team, time management is just a basic skill. Alright, let's hear from XIAOCHUN next. He's had both startup experience and an internship at a listed company, so I'm sure he has a different perspective.
I think my understanding of time management didn't really come from school. It started when I ran my own small business. The murder mystery game shop with some friends. And honestly, running the place was way more complicated than I expected. Every day we had to deal with customer bookings, schedule game sessions, prepare props, and coordinate with DMs. That's short for game masters who lead the sessions. One time, a DM showed up late at the last minute, and 3 groups of customers were left waiting for over 30 minutes. We ended up losing money and got a bunch of bad reviews. That was the first time I truly realized when time falls apart, the whole experience falls apart. Later, I interned at a listed e-commerce company, and that's where I really learned what structured workflows and strict time management look like. My job involved running the day-to-day of an online store, planning promotions, scheduling product launches, updating layouts, and more. And behind all that, it's all about timing. I still remember what my mentor used to say. In e-commerce, even a 1-minute delay can cost you a customer. Since then, whether I'm studying or working, I become way more aware of how I use my time. I think that's one of the most direct and practical lessons I learned from the workplace.
I didn't expect you to have started up your own business while still in college. Pretty impressive. And that story you shared about how one person being late messed up the whole customer experience. Honestly, that feels very real and kind of stressful too. Also, what you said about the fast tempo in a listed company, that every second counts kind of vibe. It's something most students aren't really familiar with. Sounds like you've learned the same lesson from 2 totally different situations. Time really waits for no one. Alright, let's hear from MENGMENG now. She worked in a cross-cultural team, so her experience with time might be a bit different.
When I was interning at the China brand of a Korea beauty brand, one thing that really stood out to me was how strict the Korea team was about time management. It was normal for everyone to join meeting earlier, and every task had a clear deadline. Even being just a few minutes late will seem as unprofessional.
I was in charge of coordinating social media content across teams in different countries. The schedule was super tight, from planning and copywriting on the China side to proofreading and design confirmation from the Korea headquarters. Every step has to stay perfectly in sync. Even though the time difference between China and Korea is only 1 hour, the working pace and approval processes was quite different. If one side was even slightly behind, the whole posting schedule could fall apart.
Well, that experience made me start thinking about how different countries view time. For example, countries like Japan and Germany are known for being super punctual. Being late can seem like you are not trustworthy. But in the US, people are usually on time for formal things, but more flexible for casual meetups. In the southern part of Europe, Latin America, or India, people tend to have a looser sense of time, and being late is more acceptable in some situations. Over time, I realized that being on time isn't just to being responsible. It's also a big part of building trust and avoiding misunderstanding in cross-cultural work.
We can't expect everyone to follow our standards. We also need to learn how to understand and adapt to theirs. Honestly, after hearing MENGMENG's story, I'm feeling a bit stressed. Having to join meetings early and being seen as unprofessional if you are just a few minutes late. That kind of fast-paced, no delay work culture really isn't something everyone can adjust to right away. And you mentioned coordinating social media content across countries, plus the approval process. That definitely adds more room for things to go wrong. Like you said, it's not just about being late. One delay could mess up the whole process. So being on time isn't just about time management. It's about teamwork and building trust. But now I'm curious, you've all interned at different companies and in different countries. I'm sure you've met all kinds of people. Some are super punctual, some are always cutting it close, and some just don't care at all. What do you think about that? What's your take on this kind of people?
One thing I really noticed during my editing internship is that some people think it's okay to hand things in late. Like, it's fun, we can just stand up and finish it later. But the truth is, even a small delay can create a lot of more pressure for the next person in the workflow. I had a teammate who always handed in materials late, and we, the editors, had to work overtime last minute to fix it. Eventually, our leader removed him from the main project. That's when I realized Being late isn't just about missing a deadline. It breaks the trust your team has in you. After that, I became extra careful. I made sure I was always on time, and I also tried to keep things running smoothly for others.
I totally get what Zheng said. Even if you are just a little late, it can mess up the whole team's schedule. When I was working at a Chinese e-commerce company, one thing really stood out to me was how serious people treat deadlines. Everyone's sense of time was shaped by the work environment. When I first started, I thought, it's just a little late, no big deal. But my mentor looked at my late slides and said, we can't use this. It's too late. There's no time to review it. He wasn't angry, but the tone made it clear. This wasn't something to mess around with. And once you watch how the experienced staff work, you realize why. They don't wait until the last minute. They finish early. If you fall behind, it doesn't just make you look unprofessional. It slows everyone down. By the end of my internship, I made sure to finish almost everything at least a day early. Not just to look good, but because I honestly didn't want to hold everyone back.
I totally agree with what you said about the chain reaction. It's especially true in a cross-border team like the one I worked in. Even a small delay can have a big impact. We worked with both Chinese and Korean colleges, and the Korea side moved very fast. Their default mindset was to finish everything earlier, and every step have a clear deadline. I remember once I thought I submitted something on time, but they just replied saying this should have been sent 2 hours ago. I was honestly kind of shocked.
Compared to that, my Chinese colleges were a little bit more flexible. They often submitted work on the day of the deadline, as long as the final result wasn't delayed. But if you follow that pace with the Korea team, they might think you are not professional, and that can easily cause communication issues. So later on, I learned a little trick. Don't just look at the official deadline. Ask when people actually expect to get things. That way, you don't accidentally mess things up. In cross-cultural teamwork, time management really isn't about how you feel. Sometimes you think you are early, but to others, you are already late. Sounds like all of you have run into time issues in some way, whether it was someone else holding things up, or you cut it too close yourselves. If there's a friend or a classmate around you who's never had any internship experience, what would you say to them about deadlines and being on time?
If you haven't done an internship yet, here is something I want to tell you. You may think they still have time, but others have already started moving. In the workplace, no one's going to wait for you to slowly get ready, especially in fast-paced industries like content production. Everyone works on tight deadlines, so it's a good idea to start now. Try finishing assignments early or prepare presentations ahead of time. It helps you build a sense of timing. It's not just about getting better grades, it's about making sure that one day you're not the one everyone else is waiting on. It may be a little hard at first, but if you are willing to try, you will see that you can actually keep up better than you thought. I think you don't have to wait until everything is perfect. Just take the first step now.
I think what you said was really true. In the workplace, people don't judge you just by how smart you are. They care more about whether you are reliable. To students who haven't had any internship experience yet, here's something very real. Being on time makes people try to be a genius or have tons of experience. If you can just finish what you gave them on time, people will want to work with you again. So even if you haven't started working yet, you can start building this habit now.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said. When you are reliable, people will want to work with you again. I also want to add this. Once you step into a team with people from different departments or even different cultures, being capable isn't enough. You also need to keep up with their pace. So don't underestimate small things like showing up 5 minutes earlier. Sometimes that's what shapes your first impression. You might still be in school now, but if you start practicing punctuality in small ways, things will feel much more easier in the future. And if you are about to start your internship, don't stress about doing everything perfectly. Just focus on being on time and being dependable. That's already a great place to start.
Thanks to all three of you for sharing. Everything you said was super relatable and really helpful. I think one clear takeaway is this. Being on time isn't just a good habit. It shows your professionalism. In the workplace, whether or not you are delivered on time often decides if people want to keep working with you. And the good news is, you don't have to wait until your first internship to start building that mindset. Start now by finishing an assignment early or showing up on time for a meeting. Those smart things, they are already laying the foundation for your future. Alright, we hope today's show gave you something to think about, especially when it comes to how you manage your time. Thanks for watching this show. See you next time.
Bye.